Hey guys, Claire here, and in today's video, we're going to talk about all things Harry and Meghan. Prince Harry was spotted having a blast on the Jimmy Fallon show.
Alright, that one actually... Hi. Nice to see you, thank you. Twice.
We know you're there!
Yeah, why would you say it twice?
Whoa.
That was spooky and hilarious. Seeing the girls fangirl over Prince Harry was also quite funny.
Spooky season is right around the corner, and even the royals are getting into the spirit. The Phantom Prince Harry took part in a rather unconventional TV appearance overnight, which took place in Jimmy Fallon's haunted maze named Tonight Mares. See what they did there? A word of warning, this may send some shivers down your spine. Prince Harry entering into the spirit of things. Anyway, finally,
you can see why that chat with Boris Johnson didn't make him stay in the country when he's having so much fun there, can't you?
Indeed.
And for those of you wondering, Boris Johnson and Prince Harry? What? Well, apparently there's a new book to be released by Johnson. Then obviously, if you want people to pay attention, you gotta use Harry and Meghan's name. This time is no different. And apparently Johnson tried to persuade Prince Harry not to leave the UK with Meghan. And he didn't just come up with this idea on his own. He was asked by someone within the palace to try to have this conversation to stop Megxit. Lord, I hate that word. This user on X said, didn't they tell us that they can't intervene in government matters during Prince Harry's ongoing security case, but they can ask the government to intervene to bully him into staying in a toxic environment? I love how Harry and Meghan get vindicated time and time again. That is a very fair point. The palace likes to pretend that they can't get involved. They don't make any statements. But we have seen time and time again that they do in fact make lots of statements via the press, via the aides and courtiers of the palace. This shows that they do use the government in order to try to get their way. And this is why they continue to try to punish Harry, because of the lack of control.
The political memoir of the century, and is his. But Graham, it's a manly pep talk is the headline.
It's a story about how Boris had a conversation with Harry to say, you shouldn't allow your wife to tell you where to live. You shouldn't be moving abroad. This is at a time when Harry had an independently successful wife and a son, and Boris Johnson, who has been gifted everything he's ever had in his life. And the whole article, from the manly reference on the front page, so you turn inside, it talks about man on man, has the implication that Boris and Harry should decide where Meghan Markle is, despite the fact Meghan Markle is the only independently successful one of the three. It's an appalling story about an appalling thing. Don't read it, don't buy the book, it is awful.
My favourite bit of it is it's so good in a terrible way. It's like, it was a man-to-man conversation. They were totally alone. The men met for 20 minutes, and then the next sentence, the following day, Harry flew to Canada.
Well, I'm just thinking if this is obviously that they said, look, let's put the top revelation first. So the top revelation is that he had a 20-minute conversation with Prince Harry.
Which failed.
Where's the beef? I want some more in the book here.
Page of the Daily Mail. Boris, my manly pep talk with Harry in bid.
What is manly? What does that mean? He's standing by the fire. But Kate, if you're going to sell a book, start with a royal story.
Exactly.
Start with
Boris knows what he's doing. He's not going to sell the book on the phone.
It's funny, but Harry and Meghan would have discussed it. Oh my God, he wants to be our friend. I think that's our reason to go.
And also, it is interesting because we always think of that weekly meeting between Prime Minister and the King or the Queen. To be about a sort of a nurturing from, maybe I've watched too much Crown. I don't know, it could be that. You see it be nurturing, advising historically, having been through so many prime ministers. Sure. But you also see that sometimes there's a call for help from the other way.
Took away from that, and less than a week later, somebody tapped the Prime Minister on the shoulder and said, well, actually, look, could you please just try and see if you could rope Harry into staying? So whoever that was not only thought that it was a possibility, but cared so much about trying to get Harry and Meghan to stay in Britain that they were willing to potentially put the Prime Minister's reputation on the line.
Now, to switch gears, Vanity Fair recently wrote a piece about Prince Harry's trip to New York, and it's entitled, Prince Harry's transition from working royal to global advocate is now complete. In under 72 hours, he packed in at least 7 events with a handful of his charities, some of which have counted on him as patron for more than a decade. He gave prepared remarks at most of the events, which meant that he was switching gears from subjects ranging from youth empowerment to minefields and conflict to climate impacts of travel and to the ongoing HIV/AIDS crisis in Southern Africa at the drop of a hat. And as we've talked about before, Prince Harry has done a phenomenal job throughout this trip, really showing that this quote-unquote non-working royal is working far more than the quote-unquote working royals. From Travelist to African Parks to the Archewell Parent Network to the Halo Trust, the Diana Awards, Prince Harry has been busy. And speaking of Travelist, it was recently revealed that they have acquired a new platform. And even more breaking news, Prince Harry is expected to be traveling back to the continent of Africa next month. And lots of people are already wondering if Meghan will be joining him there, but he will be there for Santa Bale, and I am looking forward to that.
So Vanity Fair are confirming what we all knew, that Harry's transition from a working royal to global advocate and statesman is now complete. What a brilliant piece of digital media from a quality digital media outlet, giving details of why they believe Harry is moving into a new role as a global statesman, and he's using his power and his knowledge to get the world talking about all the things we should be talking about. It's not always about Harry and Meghan. They realise they are popular. They're using their popularity to force the world to have a debate. How different is that approach to the taxpayer-funded traditional British working royal family? That sentence is getting longer. It's diametric approaches in how the two organisations work and what's important in each organisation. For Harry and Meghan, the importance is things we should be talking about. For the British working royal family, taxpayer funded, it's about themselves.
While Prince William was in one of his gardens posting a message to social media to the UN General Assembly, Prince Harry was with Prince Seeso's sister-in-law at the UN General Assembly. This is Queen Seeso seated next to Prince Harry, and they, along with other high-profile, dedicated dignitaries, participated in an event where there was a discussion on the protection of women and children. I have a couple of clips to share with you. The first is of Prince Seeso speaking about Prince Harry, and the second one is of Prince Harry entering the General Assembly's auditorium room, where he has his character on full display as he greets the King and Queen Seeso with a hug and also a bow.
Is the brother of the king of the African nation of Lesotho. Now, way back in 2006, he and Harry set up the Santa Bale charity to help some of the most vulnerable children in the world.
Everywhere he goes, I think he bonds a lot faster and a lot quicker with the children.
This thing out here is they don't know who I am. I'm just a normal guy to them.
You remember when the British tabloids wrote this drivel, saying that Prince Harry avoids a run-in with a pal who now works for Prince William. And the pal in question, of course, is the fabulous chef Jose, who has worked with Harry and Meghan long before he was quote-unquote poached by Prince William. And I do wonder if people like the chef, if they ever read the drivel that comes out of the UK tabloids, like what do they feel? Because for me it just comes off as so juvenile and petty, and I wonder if it's not sort of cringe-worthy for them. On his official Twitter or X account. Chef Jose tweeted, "Another incredible year at Clinton Global Initiative, catching up with good friends and getting inspired by so many grassroots leaders on the front lines of creating a better world." Yeah, and we see him right there with his friend Prince Harry. You really can't take the British tabloids seriously. In any event, I've seen so many great conversations about all the work that Harry has been doing this week.
I mean, traditionally, I suppose, in the community, we're used to the idea of mental health, but probably what we're really talking about is mental ill health. And I think he's trying to put a positive slant on it and maybe give people autonomy and strength to be able to tackle a lot of these issues from their own perspective. So I think it's an empowering approach.
Empowering indeed. While the press tries to bring back this toxic narrative of Meghan being bad to her employees, it's interesting that they didn't talk about Princess Anne or Charles or even Sophie yelling at her bodyguard in public. What they're attempting to do to Meghan is much like what they did to Princess Diana. Don't you dare overshadow the heir or not go quietly into that good night. Rinse and repeat.
Well, isn't this very interesting? And it was with regards to Harry and Meghan staff members, and they're speaking out to say, what you're seeing in the UK media and the tabloids, it's not true. They're actually wonderful people and wonderful employers. I say it like I'm surprised. I'm not surprised at all. But then I was like, what's the UK media going to say about that? Because, So the first thing I see, because I always check out the UK front pages each morning, and really, Daily Mail, the actual audacity of you. The negativity and hate you throw towards Meghan and Harry, mostly Meghan, and then you dare to put this on your front cover. A dictator in high heels? No, Meghan's the world's loveliest boss, says her staff. Not what you were saying last week. Not what you were saying yesterday. Sky News Australia, are you not embarrassed? You're always saying negative things about Meghan. Staffers defend Prince Harry and Meghan Markle as employers. Again, Daily Record, are you not embarrassed? And GB No News, this is not a surprise to many of us who know that Meghan and Harry are pretty decent people. Revealed Meghan Markle's luxury gifts to employees as staffing row takes new turn. And no, there's no new turn. People are actually having to come out and speak up and saying all these lies, they're false. Let's be real, when I type in Royal Family News on Google, what comes up first? Prince Harry, of course. But what's this? Cost of taxpayer-funded grant to UK monarchy to rise by 45 million. The next story under this from BBC News, royals really cost 510 million, anti-monarchists say. And I'll leave you with this one. Camilla on TikTok. How Queen Camilla will outstrip Meghan Markle with new career venture in Sussex territory, claims royal expert. Stay mad.
And Matt's correct, because if you're talking about Harry and Meghan, you're not talking about this whopping $510 million bill. So in order to distract, they use the same old talking points that they use with Princess Diana, and the ones that they've been using with Meghan for years now. I'm just happy that Harry, Meghan, and their staff are finally fighting back in ways that Princess Diana couldn't.
So a couple of months ago, this writer by the name of Petronella Wyatt, what a name, right? Wrote this article in The Telegraph, which is an English newspaper. It's not a tabloid. And she basically said she found herself saying something she never thought she would say, which was basically, maybe it's time to bring Harry home. Now, Petronella has known Camilla since she was 18 years old. Actually, I think her parents were at Queen Elizabeth's coronation. So just to give you a little bit of the background, right? So they go way back. And so obviously she's part of the inner circle, be it that she hangs out with Camilla or not, she's still a part of that circle. So this headline is suggesting or suggested that something was afoot, right? Something was a little bit off in Dodge. And now, in hindsight, we're seeing that Harry has been in New York for the past couple of days, and he's attending all these patronages and he's attending all these philanthropic activities that he's been involved with for many years, most of them, 20 or thereabouts. And he's gotten worldwide press, right? Not only in newspapers, but in magazines, even fashion magazines, they're running articles about him. And a few days ago, his brother did something, some charity walkabout, and he barely got any press. And, you know, on the other side of the pond, we see Ginger Prince strikes again. So what was kind of shocking and bizarre and weird was that the Daily Fail decided that they would stream a speech that Harry made, which was 8 minutes long. They actually did that. So they've got this parasitic need to kind of like just sponge off and suck whatever juice they can from the Sussexes. It's interesting, but yet they painted them as being the ones who were chasing press all over the place, when in actuality, they're the chaser. But what do you know? The abuser always blames the person who's getting abused. Yeah, it's called gaslighting. What's also kind of, I don't want to say sad, but it was always obvious from the get-go. Even a blind man could see that Harry had a natural charisma ever since he was a kid. He just had it. He was born with it, right? And to basically chase him, because that's basically what they did. They chased him out of the family. They actually did, because someone got incredibly jealous, or a couple of people got very, very jealous and just decided that, you know, we can do it. We don't need those other people because we're seniors and we're royalty, right? So they were obviously delusional, narcissistic tendencies, right? Puts you in that spot where you think like, yeah, I can do it. No biggie. It's like a walk in the park. And obviously it hasn't been a walk in the park. And ever since the Queen left, you know, she always had this flame around her, this light. She left, man, I'm telling you, that flame has been flickering and it's been faltering. And basically it's now dying embers, right? And it doesn't matter how many logs these guys throw on those dying embers, or how many tricks, right, or activities or events that they pull out of their silky sleeves to entice us. Nothing has worked so far, right? And, you know, they're kind of a little bit fuddy-duddy, and so people aren't really besotted with them or drawn to them or interested in them. You don't have to be some rabid fan, some sycophantic person, but no one is interested in them, right? It doesn't seem as if they have one cause that they can really sink their teeth into and really just pull up their sleeve and go to work on it. So the writing was always on the wall, and I think that's what those guys in the inner circle saw. That, you know, those flames, those embers were going to need resurrection, definitely. And those guys did not have the razzle-dazzle. They did not have the buoyancy, the radiancy, the compelling aura, personality to draw people to them, to get people interested, right? So nobody in that working royal family has it. Right? You could put them all together and make one entity. They still wouldn't be able to pull it off. They would still be as dull and as vapid. And it's not their fault. I mean, that's just the way they're built, right? That's just the way they're built. But what's kind of sad is that, again, as I said, it was obvious that from the get-go that Harry was the one that had the personality, and he was really warm and compassionate and very empathic, and he had the ability to connect with people. And so William, knowing that he was the once and future king, did not get that kind of adoration, right? Size and adoration, just did not get those from his constituencies, right? The people of the land. He just didn't have that. He just didn't have that thing. And together, they couldn't sort of like make some decision and just decide, you know what? Realistically, we just don't have the thing that Harry and Meghan have. And they've been doing this philanthropic and charity thing for decades, right? They've been doing it forever, and they're really good at it, and they're really into it, right? They really want to make a difference. They want to leave a better world for their kids, right? They want to leave a better world. And they're in the position that they can do it. And so they've rolled up their sleeves, and they're in the ring, right? They're in that ring, and they're just going for knockouts all the time. Knockouts. So what I would have done, I would have just have them go out 3 times a year for the max, just roll them out, for their beauty and elegance and charismatic, magnetic aura, energy that they have about them. And then William and Kate would do the bulk of the work, right? They would be doing the heavy lifting because he is, again, the once and future king. So let him have the prominence and just bring out the younger sibling once in a while, right? This would never have happened, but they chased and they planted stories that were not nice to those tiny little men with tiny little hearts in those horrible, trashy paper. And basically it backfired. It didn't matter that they were living in these massive palaces. Their behavior was not royal. It was not to the manner born. They were lying down with these dogs who was very, very mangy. And so obviously they picked up a lot of fleas, right? But to think that not one person in that family could just say, come on, man, let's just cut this out. This is not good. It's wicked. It's vindictive. It makes us look as if we're monsters. It's kind of terrifying. Not one person. Where was Princess Anne? His father didn't do it. The stepmother didn't do it. No one. That's just to show you how delusional they are. But again, I feel it for William, because it must be horrible having a sibling that just always gets the praise when you really want to be the top dog, right? And so I guess he made some choices which weren't the wisest. And now chicken is coming home to roost, right? Harry ain't coming back. He's never coming back. It's over, guys.
While I agree with some of the points made, I feel like sometimes rejection is God's protection. And Harry and Meghan would not be able to do what they currently do at the current capacity that they do it inside of the firm. And the issue is that William and Kate want the glory, but they don't want to do the work. And even with this elevated title and significant increase in inherited wealth, they're still not doing the work. In fact, they're doing less of the work. So had Harry and Meghan remained there, Harry and Meghan would have had to do the work while William and Kate get to take the praise. Also, I mean, with all the things going on behind the scenes that we've learned from Spare, that environment, the vast majority of it just seems really dysfunctional and toxic. And no matter how much therapy you get, you can't fix a situation if other members in that environment are unwilling to do the same. And not only are they unwilling to do the same, they don't see it as a problem. They see you as the problem. There's no accountability. There's no apology. There is no desire for change or improvement. Who wants to spend the rest of your life locked up in a gilded cage with people with that sort of mentality? It's never good to have discord within families, but it's just a fact of life. And maybe one day things will change. But as I say with most things in life, sometimes God knows best. They're free, they seem to be happy, and they're doing a lot of great work. And like she said, with the desire to change the world to a better place for their children and everybody else's. Wanted to take a moment to say thank you to you guys for your continued well wishes, your thoughts, your prayers, your donations. A very special shout out to Joy Leckie, Sharifia, Hillary Daniel, Phil Williams, Nutty Doctor, Hey Doc, Joan Lawman, Labravia Jenkins, and I hope I pronounced that properly, Darylyn Payan, and Robin Amos. What I want to do is try to give you guys verbal shout outs. If you don't want your name to be called, let me know in the comment section below and I'll take a note. Also, if you have any video ideas, suggestions, anything at all, let me know in the comment section below. I try to read and respond to as many as possible. And with that being said, I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend wherever you are. are, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, hit that notification bell.